So with the news that Erik Ten Hag is potentially going to be taking over the managerial reins at Manchester United at the end of the season, I thought I'd have a deeper look into how his system plays out at Ajax, how he likes to implement his philosophy, and how we can potentially try and recreate that in Football Manager. So let's have a quick look at how Ten Hag sets up his Ajax team and some of the key points as to how they like to play. Ajax tend to take up a 4-2-3-1 shape. It can move between that and a 4-3-3. There's quite a lot of fluidity in the midfield, especially looking to take advantage of the movement and intelligence of players like Ryan Gravenberch and Steven Berghuis. When Ajax are in an attacking shape, you'll kind of see like almost like a back three. Daley Blind is really important in how they play and is a big ball progressor for them, so he rotates possession a lot, plays a lot of balls through the lines. You'll also see Alvarez drop in just in front of that back line to almost be a bit of a single pivot, allow possession to be rotated through him, and allow players like Gravenberch and Berghuis to find positions that they can receive the ball and affect the play a little bit higher up the pitch. The two wide players in Dusan Tadic and Antony play slightly differently, so Antony will tend to sit a little bit narrower, still get involved in build-up play, but be a little bit more of a forward option. On the left-hand side, though, Tadic is a bit of a wide playmaker, so he's a guy that likes to keep his width, get crosses into the box, create from out wide. Over the past few years, Tadic has played a lot of roles, including as more of a false nine, more of a traditional number 10. But this year, he's being used more as a wide playmaker or a bit more of a traditional winger, to be honest. And then on the other side, Mazraoui will get a bit higher up the pitch, hold that width to really spread the play and open up the pitch for the Ajax players. Whilst taking up this kind of shape, as you can see, whether you're playing down the left-hand side or the right-hand side of the pitch, there is always good passing options, always a player available to receive the ball, recycle possession, build back up, and create dangerous playmaking opportunities in the final third. Now, these playmaking opportunities can either be slide rule passes through the defence, or as I was saying earlier, players like Tadic and Mazraoui getting wide and getting good crosses into the box for a big striker like Sebastian Haller. One of the other things Ajax likes to do is play a very high line, so that if and when there is a turnover of possession in the final third, the players can swarm around that player, try and force a quick ball out or a quick clearance so that they can sweep it back up by the defensive line, who will play nice and high up the pitch. After that, they can fall back into their shape and start to work their passing, attacking game once again. This does mean, however, with how high they are at the pitch, there is always the threat of a direct counter-attack. So that is something we'll need to bear in mind. How do we take those ideas and tactical philosophies and put them into Football Manager? Well, I'll show you what I've done. So after a lot of testing and in-game tweaks, this is what I've come up with. As you can see, it lines up in a standard 4-2-3-1 off the bat, but with some different player instructions. I'll start off by going through the instructions on the left, though. We are playing an attacking mentality, so we're always looking to play on the front foot, be aggressive in the press, but also take that extra risk in the final third. When we're in possession, we're going to be playing extremely wide to really try and spread that pitch like I was playing, opening up spaces for the players in the middle of the park. I'm going to be looking for the overlap on the right to try and get Mazraoui a little bit higher up the pitch and also, again, spreading the width. Passing is going to be shorter to try and minimise giving the ball away, but only a standard tempo. I did play around with playing a lower tempo and a standard tempo. This way, we just move the ball a little bit quicker. We don't let the opposition press us as much, and it keeps the pace of play nice and quick. In the final third, we are using low crosses and working the ball into the box. But I'm also using dribble less and be more disciplined. Using dribble less so we lose the ball less through failed dribbles and giving the ball that way, and being more disciplined so that the players stick to the instructions that I tell them to use. In transition, we will be using counter press for that swarm mentality in the final third to try and force defensive errors. We're not going to counter-attack or hold shape, we're just going to let the game play out. There will be the occasional counter-attack situation that I like to take advantage of, and that allows that. When the goalie has the ball, I want to distribute short, slow the pace down, and I want him to be a part of keeping the possession and keeping it around that back four, back three when we're in possession if needs be. When we're out of possession, as I said, incredibly high line. I want to use a very high line of engagement, once again, to really press onto those centre-backs and try and force them into errors. We're going to use tight marking so that we're sticking close to players so we can get into those challenges if we need to, if they break that initial press. And we are obviously going to press much more often. Also, preventing short goalkeeper distribution allows us to try and win those balls in the air when they're played out from the back. And these are the individual pressing instructions. So basically triggering press on anyone that's not a striker, but we are tight marking pretty much every player in the final third, going in hard on those creative central players and forcing most people onto their weaker foot as well. So take a screenshot of this, copy it over, because unfortunately it doesn't include in the tactic file. So I'm not going to spend too long going through the players' roles and why I've chosen them, but I will show you the players in their positions and some of the key attributes that I think are important for this kind of system. So start of the season, we will be using Remco Pasveer as our goalkeeper, but once he becomes available after his suspension, Andre Onana will be taking up his place between the sticks. A very good all-round goalkeeper, great shot stopper, but good composure, good passing out from the back, good distribution. That's the kind of keeper that you want, someone who can actually get their foot on the ball and play it out from the back. In terms of these three players, I'd say you want fairly similar for all of them. You want a left-back who can tuck inside and play as a centre-back, who is comfortable on the ball. Daley Blind is perfect at that, if not a little bit slow. Then we've got Lisandro Martinez and Jurrien Timber, who are very similar kinds of players. Neither of them aerially dominant, which is a little bit of a weakness in their game, but very good on the ball, very good all-round defenders, and very strong mental game. Mazraoui at right wing-back, very good all-round player, great work rate, decent on the ball as well, good vision. I want him to be able to get his foot on the ball and see passes if he needs to, but also obviously get those overlaps and get those crosses in if needs be too. Edson Alvarez will be playing the deep line playmaker defense role. So like I said earlier, he's going to be screening that back four, back three when we're in possession, being an option all the time to receive the ball and move the play around. He plays short, simple passes. He's very good on the ball, very good mentals as well. So he's going to be perfect for that. Now the dynamic midfield too of Ryan Gravenberg and Berghuis. I've gone for a box-to-box role, but with a few personal instructions on there. So I've got him shooting less often because I don't want him just taking random pot shots, getting further forward and staying wider. So we will operate a little bit like a Mezzala, but also be a little bit more reserved when we're in a defensive phase. And once again, very technically proficient footballer, great mentals, really good physicals as well. Could maybe have a slightly better work rate, but I think this role will work exactly how I want it to. And then Berghuis, just a very well-rounded final third player. Can play on either wing, can play up front, can play as a 10. You want someone who's got good vision, good finishing, good mentals, and if he's able to beat a man with his pace, that's never a bad thing. So Tadic on the left, as I said earlier, he's not the quickest, but great vision, great passing, great crossing. This guy can just create chances. I want this guy pulling the strings from out wide, getting balls through the lines and balls into the box from crosses. Anthony, as well as being a creator, is going to be a goal scorer. Someone with a little bit of pace, good dribbling, good creativity, decent passing. He's a very well-rounded wide forward with a stronger foot on the inside. And that's the kind of player you're going to want there. And with Sebastian Haller, we've got a big physical presence, someone who can hold the ball up when we're building up, but also get on the end of things that get into the box and challenge for 50-50s in there as well. So those are the kind of players that you're going to want to get into your team. It is worth bearing in mind, though, there are also tweaks that I do make in the match, and it's all kind of situation dependent. So if we're playing a very narrow team, I'll try and force the play down the wings. If we're playing a very wide team with a lot of space in the middle, vice versa. Or if I'm noticing that we're leaving a lot of space in front of our back four, I will drop that deep line playmaker into the number 6 role, the proper like defensive midfield spot, just to kind of fill that space and turn Berghuis into a Mezzala on attack. As with any tactic, you just need to be a little bit flexible. So how did the tactic work in practice? As you can see domestically, incredibly well. Matched the highest ever wins record, most ever points in a season. We weren't up there with top goal scorers, but average rating is mostly our players and definitely our first 11. As you can see from our possession stats, dominated the possession in most games, as you'd kind of expect. But when you look at the goals scored, we scored 98 goals, the most goals per game, the most expected goals for. We had great cross completion. Now, this isn't necessarily just slinging the ball in and winning headers. This is obviously cutbacks from the byline as well. So, like, we work really good opportunities and goal-scoring opportunities. A really high pass completion ratio, the most passes completed in the tournament by a long shot, the most chances created, the most shots for, the most shots on target, conversion rate, shots per game. As you can see, this is a very, very front foot attacking system. But not only that, it's pretty solid defensively as well. So obviously we dominate possession. They can't score if we've got the ball. Only conceded 20 goals in the entire tournament against an XGA of 23.45. We also allowed the least amount of shots against, again, by quite a margin, and the least amount of shots on target against, again, by quite some margin. Also, in the Domestic Cup, we did very, very well. We had a fairly easy run to the final, but beating Feyenoord 2-0 in a final that we were in full control of was a really good end to that tournament. The Feyenoord side, that's worth adding, that finished second in the league. But we also had quite the surprising run in another tournament, the Champions League. After finishing second in a group including PSG, Villarreal and Wolfsburg, we saw ourselves get past Bayern Munich 4-1 on aggregate, knock out Liverpool 4-2 on aggregate, then seen ourselves go past Dortmund in an 8-6 epic two-legged affair in the semi-final. We unfortunately fell at the final hurdle in a 3-2 loss in a Champions League final against an excellent Man City side. It was just one bridge too far. I think it's fair to say that in terms of how the team plays and how we've done, especially domestically, in terms of the results, it's a really good representation of how Erik Ten Hag tries to play his football. Very front foot, that 4-2-3-1, high pressure, creating tons of chances and dominating the ball. Even I was a little surprised about the Champions League run though. Now there's a really important point I need to make about this. This is not a game-breaking tactic. You can't plug this in with a poor side and expect to just be dominating games and winning everything. You do need high-quality players to make this work. It's a very risk versus reward system. And if you put low-quality players in these positions, especially against high-quality opposition, I could very much see you getting absolutely dominated. At the end of the day, this is trying to replicate a way that Erik Ten Hag and Ajax like to play. This isn't a way to try and exploit a meta or make a team more than the sum of their parts. This is very much about attacking possession football. That being said, I'd love to know how you get on with it. So if you do use this system, you can download it through the Steam Workshop or off the Discord. Leave a comment down below, let me know how you get on with it. But I can't just leave it there, can I? Erik Ten Hag, highly rumoured to be taking over at Man United in the summer. Should we have a little look and see how it works with them? So I am using the exact same system. The only difference being is I have had to flip it just due to all the forwards basically being stronger on their right foot than their left foot and vice versa at Ajax. There are also a couple of issues with some of the players. Henderson is most suitable for the system, but arguably not the best goalkeeper at the club. Maguire is not the quickest player in the world, so almost certainly will struggle with his very high line. I've decided to use Pogba in the box-to-box role, but his very low work rate and a few negative hidden traits mean that he might not be the most suitable. And Cristiano Ronaldo, as excellent as he still is in the game, a pressing forward, he is not. So let's see how we get on with it. Once again, domestically, very, very well. 99 points, 32 wins, 3 draws, and 3 losses. We weren't quite as dominant in terms of possession and attacking stats as we were with Ajax in Holland, but it's kind of to be expected. A lot more tougher teams, more teams that can take points and take the game away from you in England. But winning the title with this Man United side for the first time since Fergie, that's not too bad. Not only that though, we got to the FA Cup final and beat Man City 2-1 there. A fairly easy run past Birmingham, Barnsley, West Ham. Got to the final, beat the City rivals, and yeah, it was a domestic double. But not only that, after topping our Champions League group, including Inter, Wolfsburg, and Besiktas, we first dispatched Lille 5-1 on aggregate, then saw ourselves go through a very tight tie, 2-1 on aggregate, against PSG, knocking our rivals Liverpool out in the semi-final to set up a final against FC Bayern to win the game 4-2 on aggregate after extra time in an epic encounter. What a game to finish off the treble. So remember what I said earlier? Maybe it does work with a weaker side. So there we go, guys. That is the tactic. If you want to use it yourself, it is available through the Steam Workshop, link down below, or through the Discord, once again, link down below. If you use it, please leave a comment. Let me know how you get on with it. I'd love to see a wider spectrum of use and see if you can get maybe some smaller teams ticking with this as well. If you want to watch a little bit more about how I manage it in-game, I'm actually using a very similar system on my Journeyman stream save at the minute over on twitch.tv/VikingDan. There's a link down below, so go give me a follow, turn the notifications on, and you can come drop in when I go live. But I've really enjoyed doing this, doing the research, a lot of tactic testing, a lot of running through with different teams and trying out different systems to finally get to this. It's been really, really fun. What would you guys like to see me do next? Leave your suggestions down below. But that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching my video. I'll see you next time.